Welcome, friends, to Bookish 24/7, the place where your English journey truly begins. If you're here, it's not just to learn English. You want to grow, change your life, and open new doors. And that's exactly what we do here. Today, I'll share a story that might feel like your story. Starting alone, starting quietly, starting with fear, but not giving up. It's about learning English without a teacher, without a classroom, using your room as your school, and your voice as your strongest tool. So grab your notebook, grab your courage, and stay with me. You're not just watching a video, you're joining a community. Are you ready? Let's begin. The evening is peaceful. One of those soft, gentle evenings when the world seems to slow down. The sky outside my window has already turned dark, the kind of darkness that feels comforting rather than scary. Inside my small room, I sit alone with nothing but a simple notebook, a pen that barely writes, and a dream that feels bigger than the world around me. My dream is straightforward. I want to speak English. I don't want to speak it a little. I don't want to speak it sometimes. I want to speak it well, clearly, confidently, naturally. But there's a problem. I don't have a teacher. I don't go to any English center. I don't have English-speaking friends. I don't have someone to correct my mistakes or guide me. Still, somewhere inside me, I believe I can do this at home, using only what I already have. I remind myself every day, Rami, you won't give up. Not today, not tomorrow. I'm honest with myself. I don't know many words. My grammar has holes in it. My pronunciation is far from perfect. When I try to speak, sometimes the sounds don't even feel like English. But I have something stronger than perfect grammar. I have the desire to learn. I have the courage to try. And in moments like this, courage is more than enough to begin, a room full of hope. I look around. My room is simple, just a bed, a chair, a small table, a few books, nothing special. Yet tonight, it feels like the starting point of something important. My notebook is empty, but somehow my heart feels full of questions, full of confusion, full of hope. Can I really learn English by myself? Can I become fluent without paying money, without studying abroad, without a teacher? The questions feel heavy, but then from somewhere deep inside me, I hear a tiny voice, a voice that doesn't shout, yet still feels strong. Yes, you can. If you feel like me, if you're sitting alone with a dream and no clear plan, then this journey is also for you. Stay with me. I want to show you everything I learned step by step, the same way I lived it. Because honestly, you don't need a classroom to become fluent. You don't need expensive books. You don't need perfect conditions. You only need a small beginning and a strong heart. You can start right where you are. Your bedroom, your kitchen, your balcony, even your bathroom. This is your moment. This is your space. You don't have to feel alone anymore. I am walking with you. Chapter 1. The first day I spoke English alone. The next morning begins with sunlight entering my window. But instead of feeling excited, I feel a weight in my chest. Today I want to finally speak English out loud. I want to take the first real step, but I don't know how. I don't know where to start. And the fear of beginning feels bigger than the dream itself. There is no teacher, no classroom, no group of students learning together. It's just me. Me alone at home, sitting in a quiet room that suddenly feels too quiet. I sit on my bed and whisper to myself, Rami, can you really do this? Can you really learn a whole language alone? My mind answers quickly, it's too hard. But my heart replies softly, just try. So I begin awkwardly, slowly, but sincerely naming my world. I look at the table beside me. I take a breath and I say, this is a table. It feels strange. It feels unnatural. It feels like I'm pretending to be someone else. But I decide to continue. I look at the chair. This is a chair. I look at the window. This is a window. These are simple words, but speaking them out loud feels like lifting a heavy weight. My voice is slow and shy like a child speaking for the first time, but it doesn't matter. I am doing it. I walk to the kitchen. I see a cup. This is a cup. A spoon. This is a spoon. A plate. This is a plate. Suddenly, the objects in my home are not just objects. They're my teachers. They're the first English friends I ever have. I talk to everything as if it's alive. The more I speak, the more I feel like I'm giving the world around me new names, new meanings. Meeting myself in the mirror. Then I stand in front of the mirror. This moment feels different. I can see my own face, my eyes, my uncertainty, my courage. I smile at myself and say, hello. My voice shakes a little. How are you? It sounds strange, like I'm acting. I laugh softly. Then I ask my reflection, what is your name? And I answer, my name is Leo. Yes, I gave myself a different name, maybe because it felt easier to pretend I was speaking to someone else. Nice to meet you, I say to the mirror. Nice to meet you too, Leo replies. That silly moment in front of the mirror became my first English conversation, not with a teacher, not with a friend, with myself. I sit down and open my notebook. I write a few new words: table, chair, window, cup, spoon, plate, mirror. Then I read them aloud again and again and again. My pronunciation isn't beautiful. My accent isn't native. But every sound I make belongs to me, and that alone makes it meaningful. I make many mistakes. Sometimes I forget words, sometimes I say them incorrectly. But I don't stop. Mistakes are not my enemy. They are my path forward, turning daily life into English. I begin speaking during small daily actions. While brushing my teeth, I brush my teeth. While preparing tea, I boil water. I take the cup. I pour the tea. When cleaning my room, I fold my blanket. I open the window. I move the chair. Suddenly, English becomes a companion in every corner of my life. The amazing part, no one is laughing at me. No one is judging me. No one is stopping me. Here in this room, I feel free. Confidence doesn't begin on a stage. Confidence begins in moments like these, in quiet rooms when only you can hear your own voice. Confidence grows when you speak even while feeling afraid, when you practice even when no one is watching, when your voice grows louder before the world hears it. One word, one step, one victory. On that first day, I don't learn many words. I don't understand grammar rules. I don't memorize lists. But I learn something far more important than vocabulary. I learn how to start. And in every great journey, the beginning is the hardest part. My English journey begins with only one sentence, one object, one mirror, one shy voice, my own. But that voice feels like a seed, small, weak, new, but ready to grow. Chapter 2. Listening like a child. The morning after my mirror conversation with Leo, I wake up with a strange curiosity in my mind. I lie in bed staring at the ceiling and think, why do babies learn languages so easily? Why do they speak without ever opening a grammar book? I start replaying scenes I've seen in my life. A toddler listening to her mother. A small boy repeating words from cartoons. Children singing songs in a language they don't study but somehow understand. Babies don't sit with notebooks. They don't do grammar exercises. They don't memorize vocabulary lists. They just listen all day, every day. They listen to their parents' voices. They listen to songs, stories, and conversations. They listen to words they don't fully understand. Still, slowly, something magical happens. They start speaking. So I tell myself, Rami, if babies can learn a language by listening, maybe you can too. Maybe you don't need to understand every single word. Maybe you just need to listen a lot. That idea feels simple, but powerful. I decide to copy the way children learn. I won't worry about knowing everything. I won't stress about grammar rules. I won't stop every second to translate. Instead, I will do one main thing. I will listen every single day. Turning my phone into a listening teacher, I grab my phone and sit at the edge of my bed. The room is quiet. For a second, I feel a little lost. Where do I start? There are millions of things on the internet. So I type into the search bar, English Podcast for Beginners. A list appears. I scroll slowly until one title catches my eye. Slow English Stories. I like the sound of it. Slow, clear, maybe not too difficult. I press play. A gentle voice starts speaking. It's a sunny day. A girl goes to the market. The voice is not fast. It's calm, clear. I feel my body relax. I'm not fighting to understand every word. I'm just listening, letting the sounds enter my ears. The story is simple. A girl buys some fruit, talks to the seller, walks home. I understand most of it. I smile. I can do this, I tell myself. When the story ends, I don't rush to find something else. I listen to the same episode again. The second time, I notice small details I missed before. The third time, I already know what will happen next, and it feels easier. For the first time, listening in English doesn't feel like torture. It feels possible. Short clips, deep focus. Later that day, I search for more listening practice. This time I type, Easy English Daily Life Podcast. I find another show. The episodes are short, only about 5 minutes each. That feels perfect. I play one. The speaker talks about simple things: breakfast, taking the bus to work, arriving at work, feeling tired, drinking coffee. These topics sound normal, but that's exactly why they are useful. They are close to real life. As I listen, I try something new. I pick only one short sentence from the audio, pause it, and repeat after the speaker. I take the bus to work. I eat breakfast at 7 o'clock. I feel tired in the morning. I don't repeat every sentence. That would be too much at the beginning. I just choose a few short ones and copy them. My voice is quiet, almost a whisper, but it doesn't matter. I'm training my ears and my tongue together. YouTube, my new free classroom. In the afternoon, I move to YouTube. I type, Easy English Conversations Beginner. I find a video where two people speak slowly. Hi, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. And you? I know these words already, but now I pay attention to how they sound. Where does the voice go up? Where does it go down? How do they join words together? I pause the video and repeat. Hi, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. And you? I say it again, this time trying to copy the music of the sentence, not just the words. I notice that when they say thank you, the sound is smooth, almost like thank you, not two separate blocks. I start to understand something big. Listening is not just about understanding meaning, it's about feeling the music of the language, listening while living. Soon, I create a simple rule for myself. Whenever I can, I will live my life and listen at the same time. When I cook breakfast, I play an English story in the background. While I cut vegetables, I listen to a story about travel. While the water boils, I listen to someone talking about their day. I don't stare at the screen. My hands are busy, but my ears are working. When I clean my room, I put on another podcast. I vacuum the floor, organize my books, wipe the table, but my ears are catching the sound of English. I pay attention to which words are stressed, how the speaker connects words, how their voice rises in questions and falls in statements. I don't pause to repeat during cleaning. I just listen and let English flow around me. Later, I go for a walk. I put on my headphones and play a short story again, the same one I heard earlier. I listen to it 3 times while walking. First time, I just listen and enjoy. Second time, I understand more. Third time, I can almost predict the next sentence. This repetition doesn't feel boring. It feels like building a strong wall brick by brick, layer by layer. Sometimes I don't understand certain words or phrases. In the past, this would make me feel angry or stupid. But now, I tell myself, it's okay. Your ears are training. Even if your brain doesn't understand everything today, your ears are getting stronger like a baby learning naturally. Falling asleep with English at night. Before sleeping, I play one last audio, a calm bedtime story in English. The room is dark. My eyes are closed. I'm lying in bed breathing slowly. The voice is gentle. The words are soft. I don't force myself to translate. I don't pause. I don't repeat. I just listen. My brain listens. My heart listens. My body relaxes. I fall asleep with English still playing in my ears. It feels like the language is slowly entering my subconscious. This becomes my new way of learning. I don't study in the traditional way. I live with English. I listen while I cook. I listen while I clean. I listen while I walk. I listen before I sleep. And then something amazing starts to happen. During the day, even when there is no audio, I begin to hear English in my head. Phrases from stories, sentences from podcasts, little pieces of conversations. My thoughts start to mix with English words, the real power of listening. Little by little, I understand. If you want to speak well, You must first listen well. If you want your mouth to sound natural, your ears must become strong. Listening is not a passive activity. Real listening is active. Real listening is powerful. Your ears are your first teachers. Podcasts, videos, audio stories. They are your free school. You don't have to understand 100%. You don't have to be perfect. You only have to keep listening with focus, with patience, with faith that something is growing inside you even when you cannot see it yet. Chapter 3. Reading that changed my life. A few days later, the weather changes. The sky turns gray. Rain taps gently against the window, creating a soft rhythm in the background. I sit near the window with a hot cup of tea between my hands. The room feels calm. My mind is quiet, but curious. I remember something one of my old teachers once said in class long ago. Reading is the secret to learning a language faster than you think. At that time, I didn't really believe him. Reading felt difficult and slow. But now, with my new listening habits, I feel ready to try again. My first simple story. I pick up my phone and search Easy English Stories for Beginners PDF. Then, another search. Simple English Short Stories Online. Eventually, I find a story called A Day in the Park. The title sounds peaceful and safe, not like a scary academic text. That's exactly what I want. I open it. The first sentence appears. Adam wakes up early, he eats breakfast and walks to the park. I understand almost every word. That feeling gives me a small spark of confidence. I decide to read out loud. Slowly, I say each word clearly. Adam wakes up early. He eats breakfast and walks to the park. My pronunciation is not perfect, but for the first time, reading doesn't feel like punishment. It feels like a challenge I can actually handle. I finish the story in about 5 minutes. It's not long. Adam walks, sees children playing, sits on a bench, feeds some birds, then goes home. That's it. Simple but powerful. Then I do something important. I read the same story again. The second time I read a bit faster. I understand a little more. The third time I barely need to think. My eyes move more smoothly. My voice becomes less mechanical, more natural. Suddenly, I'm not just reading words. I'm imagining the scene. I see Adam tying his shoes. I see the green trees in the park. I hear birds in my mind. I feel the calm of walking on a quiet path. In that moment, I realize something. I didn't just read a text. I lived inside it for a few minutes, deciding to read every day. That rainy afternoon changes everything. I decide that reading will become a daily habit, not with long, difficult novels, not with advanced articles, just with simple, easy stories written in clear English. 10 or 15 minutes a day is enough. The goal is not to finish big books. The goal is to let English enter my mind in a gentle, natural way. The next day, I find another story, this time about a girl and her cat. The day after that, I read about two friends going shopping. The grammar is simple. The vocabulary is basic, but the stories are full of life. I feel connected to these characters. Not because the stories are dramatic, but because they feel real and human. Seeing words again and again. After a few days, I start noticing something interesting. Some words appear again and again in different stories. Walk by, wake up, park, bus, friend, breakfast. For example, the word walk keeps showing up. Adam walks to the park. She walks to the shop. They walk together after school. Every time I see it, the word becomes stronger in my memory. I don't need to write it 20 times or memorize it in a list. Just by seeing and reading it repeatedly, my brain naturally remembers it. This is the real power of reading. You don't only learn single words, you learn words in full sentences, in real situations. You see how they are used, where they appear, and what other words usually stand beside them. You don't need to ask, "Is this sentence correct?" You feel that it's correct because your brain has seen it many times. What I do when I don't know a word. Of course, not every word is easy. Sometimes I find a word I don't know. When that happens, I don't panic. I simply stop, open my dictionary app, and check the meaning. I look at the definition, one example sentence. Then I go back to the story and read the sentence again. Now it makes sense. I don't write the word in a long list. I don't force myself to repeat it 20 times. I just continue reading. If that word is really useful, I know it will appear in another story. When it does, I'll remember it better. Reading is like meeting the same friend in different places. Each time, your relationship gets stronger. Reading out loud in the mirror. I also create a small, funny routine. Sometimes I sit in front of the mirror with my phone or notebook and read the story out loud to myself. I watch my mouth move. I listen to my own voice. I notice which sounds are hard to say. I don't care if I make mistakes. No one is giving me a test. No one is giving me a grade. This is practice, not performance. And something unexpected happens. The more I read out loud, the more natural my speaking becomes. When I later try to speak without reading, my tongue moves easier. Sentences come out more smoothly. It's like reading has been secretly training my mouth to handle English sounds. 1 week later, a new feeling. After about a week of reading 2 or 3 short stories per day, I notice a clear change. I feel more confident with simple sentences. I start to guess meanings from context without running to the dictionary all the time. I understand more and struggle less. English feels less like a stranger and more like a familiar guest in my mind. Sometimes I finish a story and think, wow, I just read all of that in English. A few weeks ago, I wouldn't even try. This feeling gives me energy to continue. Reading is no longer something I have to do. It becomes something I want to do. It's like watching a movie in my mind, but I'm also learning at the same time. Making reading part of my day. Now reading has its own place in my routine. In the morning, I read one short story, just a few paragraphs. In the evening, I read a slightly longer one. Sometimes I read the same story 3 or 4 times. Each time it feels easier and more natural. Repetition doesn't make me bored, it makes me fluent. I stop worrying about finishing books. I focus on enjoying words and growing slowly. Advice from my experience. If you want to practice English at home, reading can become your best friend. Start small. Use short stories for beginners. Pick something interesting, not something that feels heavy or academic. Don't worry about big, complex words. Just read. Read with your eyes. Read with your voice. Read with your heart. Even 10 minutes a day can change a lot over time. You don't have to understand everything. You don't have to be fast. Just be consistent. One day, you'll realize that you can speak more easily, think faster in English, understand more when people talk, and you'll see that a big part of that progress came from simple daily reading. Because reading is not only about words. Reading opens worlds you can visit anytime, from your bed, your chair, your kitchen table. At this point in my journey, I'm listening daily like a child and reading stories like a curious friend. I still feel shy. I still make mistakes. But something has changed. English is no longer just a subject. It is becoming part of my life. In the next phase, I will discover another powerful method: shadowing. Copying native speakers, sentence by sentence, and using my voice without fear. Chapter 4. Shadowing without fear. It is early evening. The sun has already disappeared behind the buildings, and my room feels quiet in a comforting way. I sit on my bed with my headphones on, holding my phone like it's a small doorway to a new world. I press play on an English audio story. The voice is soft, clear, and steady. The speaker says, "My name is Emily. I live in New York." I pause the audio. I repeat the sentence. "My name is Emily. I live in New York." My voice sounds a little stiff at first. I'm not used to speaking this way, but I try again. I listen one more time and repeat it again, trying to match the tone, the speed, the natural rhythm. This is my first real experience with something called shadowing. I learned about shadowing the day before. A video on YouTube explained that shadowing means repeating after a native speaker immediately after hearing the words, like a shadow following a person. You copy the words, the pronunciation, the tone, the music of the sentence, even the emotion. It's not memorizing. It's not repeating slowly and perfectly. It's copying the flow of real English. At first, I feel nervous. I worry that I sound ridiculous. I worry that I'm pronouncing everything wrong. But then I remind myself, no one is watching. No one is judging. This is my room, my space, my practice. I choose a short clip, only 1 minute long. The speaker tells a simple story about her morning routine. I repeat each sentence. I wake up at 7 a.m. I drink coffee in the kitchen. I check my phone. I get ready for work. I pause after each sentence. I repeat it. I copy the way her voice rises and falls. The first few minutes feel uncomfortable, but then something shifts. My tongue begins to relax. My voice slowly becomes smoother. The words come out more naturally. Shadowing starts feeling less like work and more like singing along to a favorite song. I repeat each sentence again and again. Sometimes I mess up. Sometimes I forget the sentence halfway. Sometimes my pronunciation slips, but I don't stop. I simply go back, rewind, and try again. I speak louder this time. I speak clearer. I speak with intention. Soon I realize shadowing is not about copying perfectly. It's about training your mouth and ears to work together. It's like exercise for your voice, like running for your speaking muscles. And the more you shadow, the more natural English begins to feel. Shadowing becomes my daily workout. Over the next few days, shadowing becomes part of my routine. I create a small plan, 10 minutes every morning before breakfast, 10 minutes every evening before bed. Short, slow clips with subtitles, one sentence at a time. I listen. I pause. I speak. I repeat. I treat it like learning a musical instrument. Not fast, not stressful, just rhythm, flow, and repetition. Little by little, I notice changes. My pronunciation improves. My sentences become smoother. I hesitate less. I understand spoken English more easily. I sound more confident. Shadowing is teaching me the real English, not textbook English, not stiff grammar English, but the English people actually use every day. I also learned something important. Native speakers don't speak word by word. They connect words. They blend sounds. They shorten phrases. Shadowing helps me hear those connections and copy them naturally. The best part is that I don't need anything fancy. Just my phone, a pair of headphones, and a quiet space. Shadowing becomes my secret weapon. Chapter 5. Talking to myself. My private classroom. A few days later, I discover another powerful method. Something that feels strange at first, but becomes one of the strongest tools in my learning journey. Self-talk. It's a bright afternoon. The house is quiet. No one is home. I stand near the window with my notebook in hand, wondering how to practice speaking today. There's no friend to talk to, no teacher, no classmates, no conversation partner. So I begin speaking to myself. Hello, I say softly. How are you? Then I replied to myself, I'm good, thank you. And you? I feel silly. I laugh a little, but it also feels strangely good. I walk around the room and describe everything I'm doing. I open the door, I sit on the chair, I take a pen, I close the window, I pick up my notebook. These sentences look simple, but saying them out loud helps me think in English. I'm training my brain to use words in real time. Then I stand in front of the mirror again. I see Rami. I see Leo, my imaginary conversation partner. I speak to him. What did you do today? I woke up early, I made tea, I cleaned my room, I watched an English video. Suddenly I feel like I'm having a real conversation. I ask questions, I give answers, I tell short stories about my day. When I go outside, the self-talk continues in my mind. The dog is running, the man is talking on the phone, the woman is carrying a bag. The weather is nice today. My inner voice slowly transforms into English, and that is one of the biggest steps in language learning. Self-talk helps me overcome fear. It helps me build confidence. It helps me speak without waiting for someone else to speak first. And soon, something incredible happens. I start speaking in English without planning to speak in English. It just comes out naturally. It flows. Self-talk is my private classroom, open 24 hours a day. Chapter 6. Using technology in smart ways. One night, as I sit on my bed with my phone in hand, I start wondering what if this phone could help me learn faster. I open the settings. Everything is in my native language. Then I get an idea. I change everything to English. The menu, the apps, the notifications, the keyboard, the calendar. Suddenly, English is everywhere on my screen. At first, it feels strange, a little uncomfortable, maybe even confusing. But this is the good kind of confusion, the kind that helps you grow. Every time I unlock my phone, I see English words. Every button I press teaches me something new. Even simple actions become learning opportunities. Soon, I start exploring English learning apps. I find one that teaches basic vocabulary through pictures. It says apple and shows a picture. I repeat apple, then chair, door, street, coffee. 10 minutes a day, easy, fun, no pressure. Then I discover an app that checks my pronunciation. It asks me to say sentences like, I'm going to school. I like reading books. I speak, and the app shows a green tick. Sometimes I see a red symbol. That means I said something wrong. Instead of feeling embarrassed, I feel motivated. I try again until I get it right. I also use YouTube in a smart way now, not just for entertainment, for learning. I search for phrases like English for daily life, slow English dialogues, simple English stories. I watch short, slow videos with subtitles. I pause, repeat, shadow, listen again. I even use voice typing. I open a note and say, "Hello, my name is Ramy. I like learning English. I go to the park every weekend." The phone types what I say. If it types the wrong word, I know my pronunciation needs correction, so I try again. I use a dictionary for new words. I listen to how the word is pronounced. I repeat it. I shadow it. Even music becomes a tool. I find English songs with subtitles. I listen. I follow the lyrics. I sing along softly. Soon, I begin watching movies with English subtitles. First with subtitles, then without, then with subtitles again. Each time, I understand more. Technology becomes my daily teacher, not a source of distraction, a source of growth. Chapter 7. Creating English Habits at Home. By now, I understand something important. Learning English doesn't require hours of hard study. It requires daily habits, small habits, consistent habits, easy habits that you can repeat every day. I build simple routines. Every morning, I read one short English paragraph. After brushing my teeth, I talk to myself in English for 1 minute. When I cook, I listen to an English podcast. While walking, I think in English. After dinner, I watch a short English video. Before sleep, I listen to a bedtime story. These habits do not take much time, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. But together, they build something powerful. I also write 1 or 2 new words in a notebook daily. Not long lists, just 1 or 2. I label objects in my room with English words: mirror, door, lamp, closet, window. Every time I see them, I say the word in my mind. No effort, just repetition. On weekends, I talk to myself about my week. This week, I listened to 5 podcasts. I learned 7 new words. I read 4 stories. I practiced shadowing every morning. These small victories give me motivation. Sometimes I feel tired. Sometimes I don't want to practice. Sometimes I feel lazy. But my habits remind me, just do 5 minutes, and 5 minutes is enough to keep the fire alive. Habits make English feel natural. They make English part of my life, not something separate. Chapter 8. Learning never stops at home. It is late at night. I lie in bed with the lights off. I think about my day. I listened to a story. I shadowed a few sentences. I read 1 short text. I talked to myself in English. I learned 1 new word. It wasn't a big day, but it was a good day, a learning day, a growing day. I remember the time when I doubted myself, when I believed I needed a teacher or a classroom, when I thought learning alone was impossible. But now I know the truth. Learning never stops at home. In fact, Home is where the real journey begins. In the past weeks, I've seen real progress. My pronunciation became clearer. My sentences became smoother. My listening got stronger. My confidence grew. My fear decreased. And the most amazing thing, I did all of this alone. Not because I'm special, not because I'm talented, but because I worked regularly, one small step each day. I used everything around me, my phone, my headphones, my notebook, my mirror, my time, my curiosity, my voice. Some days were difficult. Some days I failed. Some days I felt slow, but I didn't stop. Those 5 minutes of effort every day became a habit. The habit became a routine. The routine became progress. Progress became confidence. And now, English is becoming part of me. I understand something powerful. Learning a language is not a race. It is a journey. A slow, beautiful journey full of small victories. You don't have to be fast. You don't have to be perfect. You don't need someone watching you. You just need to continue. Read a little, listen a little, speak a little, think a little. Do it every day. Home is your school. Your phone is your tool. Your voice is your guide. Your dream is your light. I started with fear and silence. I started alone, but I kept going step by step, and I found my way. And you will find yours too. So keep listening, keep reading, keep speaking, keep shadowing, keep practicing, keep believing. The perfect moment to start is now. The perfect place is where you are. The perfect teacher is your own commitment. And I am here with you every step of the way. Thanks for joining me today, friends. If this inspired you, give it a like, share it, and subscribe to Bookish 24/7 for more simple and motivating English lessons. Tell me in the comments what English habit you will start today. Keep practicing, keep believing, and I'll see you in the next video.